Hey, what's up everybody, this is Justin here to give you this week's anime review, and this week's anime review will be the classic Kimagure Orange Road. So, Kasuga Kyosuke is a typical Japanese 15-year-old. He's doing his best to study and meeting the girl of his dreams on his first day on a stroll in his new town. However, the circumstances of his family's move and the results of this encounter just happen to be the beginning of not of the perfect life, but a series of shenanigans mixed with typical teenage hormones. For starters, why did he have to move to this new town? The thing is, Kyosuke comes from a family of espers, whose powers generally range between telekinesis, teleportation, the occasional, dropped my phone for a second, the occasional self-hypnotizing, and don't think of the Biggie song, you know, Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me. So yeah, that's how, you know, he hypnotizes himself. And the occasional unintentional, accidental time travel, where he goes in time to save Tupac and Biggie. So yes, because Kyosuke's sisters have abused their powers, specifically Kurumi, in public view in the past, they have had to move on a number of occasions, and Kyosuke hopes that this will be the last after meeting this beautiful girl. At his new school, Kyosuke happens to learn that he shares the same homeroom class with the girl he met. Her name is Ayukawa Madoka, and she happens to be one of the most feared delinquents in town, and that does nothing to prevent Kyosuke from pursuing her. However, when Kyosuke uses his power under the impression he was alone in the school gym to shoot a basket from the opposite side of the court while sitting down, he caught the eye of Madoka's childhood friend, Hiyama Hikaru, who is also a delinquent and fell instantly in love with him and is very open about it. Now, Kyosuke has to make sure his sisters don't abuse their powers and find a way to let Madoka know his true feelings. If you grew up on, on teen or coming-of-age sitcoms along the lines of, let's say, Saved by the Bell, Boy Meets World, or, what was it? Oh yes, California Dreams. I say this may be the best anime for you, but with some twists of special powers. It is a good mix of comedy and romance. There are some repeating gags such as Kasuga's, the Kasuga family's neighbors, Umao and Ushiko, a married couple who repeatedly share their love for each other, quoting Romeo and Juliet, and very, very ridiculous scenarios. But if you like those kind of American teen dramas, then I think you can really easily ease into Kimagure Orange Road, but of course with an appropriate Japanese twist. The series for the most part is episodic with a few two-parters here and there, and is easy to get into without any previous exposure from the start. I say having my teen years without smartphones and high-speed internet access, I can understand the struggles the characters go through without that instant connective contact. I understand what it's like to be a 15-year-old without an iPhone and having to run out and find the girl to apologize to her face-to-face over a misunderstanding. Instead, these days, it's like, hey, can we mate up? Or something like that. The series also does a good job presenting why Kyosuke does not want to reject Hikaru's feelings for him, despite truly loving Madoka. He sees that Hikaru is really a nice girl and does not want to hurt her, but he understands that he's only delaying the inevitable. Madoka, despite representing the archetypical 1980s skebum, or schoolgirl delinquent, her character is given the most development. She can be rough and tough, but also comes across as genuinely feminine that would seduce many teenage boys. I'm sorry about that. I love how I just love how teens from back then in the day are just having a good time. One of my favorite episodes was in the last quarter of the series, which spoofs the kaiju genre. In that episode, it pays homage to Godzilla, Gundam, Saint Seiya, and Mothra all at once by using the Godzilla soundtrack, a tribute song to the Mothra song sung by Kurumi and Manami, and I will explain the Saint Seiya reference later. The TV series ends out of convenience, but I really can't say how the manga ends because I have yet to read it. I heard the TV series has some major changes for the manga, but if anyone familiar can share with some info, I would appreciate it. So I give the story and characters an 8 out of 10. Well, outside a few brawls here and there, the series does not have much intense martial arts action, high-speed racing scenes like, you'd see in Initial Dear Wanga at Midnight, world-ending tennis matches that will kill the dinosaurs, or any space-ending mech warfare, or the so-called quality of the animation being outdated. And or bad is really nothing to be concerned about. Um, I say this is one of the original shonen romance comedies, so high quality HD animation should be the last thing you should worry about in the same way you should last worry about high quality production values in a 1990 sitcom. Granted, the resolution and contrast is relatively grainy and plain compared to today, but I don't think such trivial quality should negate this anime. The character design works the way it needs to be by presenting us with a teenage romance comedy. Kyosuke probably looks like a 15-year-old, and his facial expressions convey what it needs to convey. Madoka's design works in the way it is supposed to intend to make her a punk teenager with an adult and feminine feel. Manami and Kurumi work as preteens as well as Hikaru and, what was his name? Yusaku. I can tell the characters apart and I can tell who is a boy and who is a girl, unlike today's fucking anime, so I don't know where the fucking flaws are. Granted, we don't see much Tokyo scenery, but I think the series appropriately portrays Japanese home and school life and what suburban Japan feels like. The limited action scenes with Madoka fighting off gang members were also archetypical of the Skeban genre of the time, and the long skirt and using yo-yos as weapons or kendamas as all that. They're fast-paced and not over the top. Well, they can be over the top at times. But anyway, I give the art animation a 9 out of 10. So yes, going back to the Saint Seiya reference. The series is filled with a who's who in Japanese voice acting. For starters, Kyosuke is played by Furuya Toru, who every anime fan should know. If you don't, you're not a fucking true anime fan. He's famous as the voice of Amuro Ray from Gundam, Tuxedo Mask from the original Sailor Moon series, Yamcha from Dragon Ball, and Seiya from Saint Seiya, who I recognize as the only voice of Seiya. I love how he makes his voice a bit quieter and softer to make him a vulnerable teenage boy in comparison to the more confident, let's say, cocky Seiya, who is actually 2 years younger than Kyosuke. And complementing this casting is Tsuru Hiromi as Madoka. She is also world famous as the voice of Bulma from Dragon Ball. And seeing this casting in this contest really makes perfect sense, and their chemistry works really well in this series. Though these two alone define what makes this series also awesome. The rest of the cast also are also some relatively big names like Kikuchi Masami, the voice of Yusaku in this series, would later on become famous as the voice of Keiichi from Oh My Goddess and Tenchi in Tenchi Muyo. In this series, his voice is appropriately rough and aggressive since he hates Kyosuke. But unfortunately, Honda Chieko, who voiced Kyosuke's sister Kurumi, and also the voice of Puru and Puru 2 in Gundam Double Zeta, passed away to cancer back in early 2013, and she does a great job of appropriately playing this preteen girl without any care in the world. And the music is really excellently and appropriately sets the mood of youth, love, and summer. It has a distinct intensity and very romantic. My favorite song is Orange Mystery, the second opening theme. Prior to being used as the opening theme, it was used as background music in some really, really good scenes, and I really liked how it was used. And it's actually one of my ringtones for my girlfriend. So I give the music and voice acting an overall score of a 10 out of 10. So, I think beyond just the art and animation, I think there are a lot of more qualities to this series that will mostly appeal to older viewers and veteran anime fans than younger viewers. I think older viewers understand what the world was like and even grew up as a teenager before we had so much today and it's much easier to relate to. I mean, a lot of these problems these days can easily be just solved by internet and smartphones, and I think I know how that works. Well, I know how that works. Watching this series made me feel young and made me want to go back to youth and start over again in certain moments in my life. You know, see my friends, say the right words, have more fun, and so on. And now working in Japan, I understand some of the characters' frustrations and kind of gives me some insight. I also love the Kaiju tribute episode, which really made me enjoy this series much more. And for everything else I love about this series, altogether, I give this series an overall score of an 8.75 out of 10. As for next week, I have a 3-day weekend. If my plans go well, I have a special surprise for you. But if things don't go well, then my next review will be the OAV series of Kimagure Orange Road. Okay, see you around.